Mary-Beth. Really lovely to have you here today at the Conversation for Thought Leaders. We talked about a really timely topic today. The topic was don't be afraid to pivot, be afraid not to. And we spoke a lot about the pitfalls of people feeling stuck, wanting to make a career change, and wanting to, having that moment where they realize they don't belong and they need to move, but then feeling stuck in inaction to actually take tangible steps towards making a change. So, what would your advice be to someone who's feeling that way?
I think the key here is to understand what your North Star is or where you want to go. And if you don't know that, then what is a small tangible step that you could take to help that be uncovered for you? And thinking about those things in your past life or your past career that have brought you joy. I talk a lot about in today's session the joy matrix, which is really about teasing out what you find joyous in a role. And then remembering those things that you have achieved. So that idea of journaling and writing those things down. When we feel most stuck, I think you asked the question during the session, it's that we lack that confidence. It's that I know I need to change, but I'm feeling compelled to stay because I'm comfortable here, but I know that I need to find something new. So if we can revisit those things that we are good at and we look at the past things we've achieved, we look at the past roles we've had, it enables us to actually start to think about what a future could possibly look like. That then leads you on to a plan.
Would you suggest that someone in this position should look at updating their LinkedIn, look at their brand? Because we spoke a little bit about internal brand, external brand, and even using community to harness your brand, posting. That is something that a lot of people are doing. Some people well, some people not so well. Do you have any observations that you can share on that for someone who's possibly looking at creating a LinkedIn, uplifting their LinkedIn, or looking at their brand?
Yeah, absolutely. So the bits that I'm talking about were internal. The networking piece, external. The virtual piece, LinkedIn, and that LinkedIn community. It is such a welcoming community, but let's be real, it is social media, so things can turn on a dime. So you need to be really mindful of what you're doing in that space. But absolutely, if you want to be seen in a slightly different light, if you want to start looking at, well, what does my brand need to be? Who do I want to be known as? What is the value that I want to be able to create? What is the value add that I bring? LinkedIn is a perfect mechanism for that.
Yep.
Absolutely. Get onto LinkedIn. Start building a network out. Go to networking events. Start having conversations. I know a lot of people that work in the technology space that don't like networking events. It's okay to be an introvert and go to a networking event. Just know that if that many people around you is uncomfortable, it's only uncomfortable for the day that you're at the event. You don't have to go to an event every single week. You can, limit the events to once every month as an example, or once every 3 months, whatever that feels good for you. But get out there, be known, start doing things on LinkedIn. Maybe put up a post if there's something that's interesting to you that you think might be interesting to others.
Yep.
Give it a go. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? Speak to your mentor about it, or your coach, whoever you find, or a confidant, somebody that you can speak to about, I'm about to post on LinkedIn. Get a little bit of a LinkedIn cheer squad behind you. Those people that you know on LinkedIn, get them to, comment on your post or like it. Do those sorts of things. It is about community. Community is so important. And just being able to go to in-person events again,
I know.
I am so grateful for that. I missed that. I missed it so much during COVID. And so being able to do that and to reconnect with your communities is so important and vital.
You also spoke about finding a mentor because, I really loved how you spoke about the differences between a coach, a mentor, and a sponsor. And you spoke about finding a mentor and having someone who is able to support you, give you that feedback, cheer you on. Can you tell us a bit about those differences between a coach, a mentor, and a sponsor?
Absolutely. So I use this lovely little analogy from my previous workplace. Think of it like this. The coach is the person that helps you win the game. The mentor is the person that helps you win the season. A sponsor gets you on the pitch and gets you noticed so that you can receive that brand recognition. And so knowing the difference between those is really important. So the coach generally is your line manager, that person that's going to help you in the day-to-day tasks. Help me prioritize this. I'm feeling overwhelmed with work, etc. And that's kind of what that line manager will do for you. A mentor is that person that you can actually sit back and say, I'm feeling a little lost in my career. I'm not quite sure where I want to go. And they will be there to help guide you and start questioning you on those things that really are important to you, what it is that brings you joy. Now, they may not frame it that way. I look at things through a joy lens because I figure if I'm going to be doing this for 45 years, I at least want to have some fun while I'm doing it. So I always look at things, and when I mentor individuals, I'll say to them, what brings you the most joy? Now, I know in myself, I'm very much delivery oriented, but I really love a good process. Give me a good process to make lean, and I'm there, right? That really floats my boat. But I also love leading people because I love to see them achieve things in their career. So at least I know those two things. A really good mentor will help tease those things out with you. Now, they may not be able to give you a view of the next exact role you should go for or the next organization, but at least going back to that idea of what it is that you wish to achieve, what brings you joy, and those areas within your career to date that have actually ticked those boxes will help you to start think about, do I want to stay in the organization I'm in and move into a different role, or do I want to leave the organization? It's that being stuck and complacent piece. Now, being in the same organization and moving around it for 10, 15 years is totally okay because you're learning something new. It's when you're stuck in the same role for long periods of time where you're not learning, you're not extending yourself, and you feel lost and uninspired. That's when that sense of stuck or that sense of panic and that knee-jerk reaction takes place. A lot of women don't do this. They don't network and get out to networking events. And I would say, get out to networking events, be known. Ask that same question, what keeps you awake at night? Oh, I've got experience in that, and this is something that I found was useful. Maybe that will be of help to you. When you're in service of others and you are helping other people perhaps look at an issue that they may be experiencing, you start being seen in a different light and you're reflected in a different way. So that being pigeonholed in an organisation starts to shift and move. And you have to do the work. It is up to you to do the work because you kind of got yourself stuck in that pigeonhole. You kind of need to get yourself out of it. And that's really about creating long-lasting relationships with people outside of your department, and then starting to help them solve a problem so that they can see the value that you bring in other areas.
Your new book is Not Another Digital Transformation. Can you tell us a little bit about that book?
Well, that's exactly what it says it is. It's not another digital transformation. And I like how you were saying that, you framed that up, Rashini. It was the idea that when an organisation is going through change, it is a time for people to reflect on, do I want to stay here? Is this the place for me? Does this still meet my values? Are the values still the same? Have they shifted? Have they changed? Is the culture still the same? Has it changed? Do I want to stay? And these are all very natural things to consider. It's that idea that you want to actually be considered in your response to that when you're starting to feel that way. If you've got a plan in place, you can sit back and say, okay, I've got this plan, so therefore perhaps it is time for a change. Perhaps it is time so that, maybe the coffee store who knows my order, maybe I'll find somewhere else that makes better coffee, and those sorts of things. So sometimes it's in that shift and change that we feel most alive. in the discomfort, right? And sometimes sitting in that uncomfortable place helps us grow. It forces us to grow, and it forces us to challenge our thinking and our thought process. In the book, Not Another Digital Transformation, which is on sale at the moment on Amazon, we launched last week. My writing partner, Adi Kalra, and I are really excited about this book because it is about organisational design theory and how we should be doing things better. Instead of thrusting our IT departments into a massive overall change, because obviously the reason that our organisations are underperforming is because our IT department's underperforming, which is, in our opinion, a misnomer, and it's not right. So the idea in the book is to say, if you look at your organisation holistically, create visibility all the way throughout, then things will change. Now, I don't want to give the baby away with the bathwater. If people want to get a copy, they can get that on Amazon, or they can link with me on LinkedIn. It is Not Another Digital Transformation, the 10X Generation. And we're very proud of the work that we've done.
Often people say to me when they are looking to make a career change, they talk about this concept of being pigeonholed. So whether they're in an organization currently or they're looking to move to another organization, they say, I'm pigeonholed because people just know me for delivering value in this way or for these skill sets. And though I have all these great transferable skills that I could use in this other role, I'm just pigeonholed and I can't get out of this particular role or this particular industry. What advice would you have to someone who's feeling that way and who's trying to kind of, change their brand, I guess, if you like, and, be able to take positive steps towards moving to a different direction?
My coach often says, it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows what you know. And I think, and she also talks about this concept of a workhorse. So you'll know this idea, which is where, give the busy person something more to do and they'll get it done. And then a lot of the times we're in a workplace and we just get loaded up with work and we do it because we want to, do a good day's job, and that's what we want to do. And then suddenly you're in role for 10 years and you're still doing the same thing and you're not getting anything more because it's too frightening for the business to put you into something else because you're doing such a great job. So sometimes it's about making yourself redundant in role. And it might sound really scary, but it's that idea of disseminating some of those tasks so that you can start taking on more interesting tasks. I do when I was working sort of my way through, if I wanted individuals to know me and know that I had other skill, it's not enough to say, hey, look at me, I've got other skills. Look me over here, jumping up and down. I used to have a chat and I would make the time to speak with specific stakeholders and ask them the question, what is keeping you up at night? Or what is worrying you? And if there was something that I could add to that, then I would say, well, I'd love to work on that problem with you.
Yep.
And then show you what it is that I could bring to the table and get some sort of a secondment or working outside of that space, so that other individuals could see the value that I would bring and I would add. It stops you from being pigeonholed into the one thing.
Yep.
And if it's something that's very, very different, you can actually highlight those things that you bring to the table, and then you get seen that way. It builds sponsorship. So that sponsorship, that idea that you will have somebody that will say, oh, Mary-Beth solved this particular issue for me. I didn't even know that was in her wheelhouse. I didn't know she did that. And then suddenly you'll start to see other opportunities arise.